I think it's more than anything else, it's a time to reflect on what we've done as African Americans and where we are going. I think a lot of time we spend so much time thinking about the past, we don't really plan for the future. This is the time now to talk about where we're going, to let everyone know that we're not stuck in the past, that we do have a plan for our people in the future. We're always talking about rebuilding in our community, and I think now's the time to do it. And I have a daughter; she's 11 years old, and now's the time to talk about that. I think we spend so much time talking about what separates us instead of what brings us together. We search so long to talk about, W.E.B. Du Bois, or talking about Martin Luther King, or, talking about other African Americans when, there are some real solid stories within our own families, and we just didn't get here by magic. It took work, it took struggle. And so I like to tell her the stories of my grandfather was breaking ground as an African American doing that. That to me are the stories to tell because she can see it and she can touch it. I think we do a poor job of mining our own history. The history that's here, the history we could talk to, the history we could touch. And so what I like to do is find those stories around here, be able to point to something and say, this is what happened. Now, what are you going to do about it? Like I said, we spend time with our family and we celebrate that. I mean, when there were all of us living in a house in Tacoma, and barely had enough to make it, and my mom was working 2 jobs, and during the fall she would take a bus to go out to the Puyallup Fair to cook hamburgers and then come back, and then I'd have to cook for the family because she was too busy going back and forth. Those are the stories to me, and those events are the most important. So how do we celebrate it? I think more than ever, we celebrate it by celebrating each other. How I do my job is to be the best me I can be. Now, when you talk about justice and you talk about what's right, all those things to me are colorblind. But in the end, we had some kids here from Washington State, and a couple African American kids came up to me and they're like, man, I've been watching you since I was growing up. Well, first of all, I'm like, damn, I'm old. But beyond that, they were watching me. I think, number one, you have to be accessible. So when you have the opportunity to tell your story, you should. I think a lot of times we like to make it seem like it was just so clean to get to where you got, when really it's not. The road to the top is full of dirty fingernails and skinned knees and bumped heads and setbacks and trials and tribulations. I mean, and those are the things I think kids need to learn, that you can come out of all of that. I want kids to have a resilient state of mind. Smartest kids don't always make it. The richest kids don't always make it. But if you think back to your life, the most resilient kids made it somehow. I have a mother who told me I could do anything I wanted to do. I remember getting my first internship, and I worked at Channel 11 down in Tacoma. It was strange because there was not, I don't think, wow, man, it's funny. There was not an African American in that newsroom. I tried to make it seem like I was part of the furniture, and some of my contacts and being African American got me into places that others couldn't. I also remember, other people coming in and going, well, the only reason Jesse got where he's got because he's black. Okay, then I'm gonna outwork you. We'll just take it to something where color doesn't matter. The harder you work, the more confident you become. The more confident you become, the more risk you're willing to take. The more risk you're willing to take, right? And the less you worry about failure, because I don't mind failing, right? The more you're willing to do that, the more you're able to break new ground. When I started doing my name thing, that Teddy Jones, when I started doing that, I was hearing, oh. I mean, I'm just talking about in terms of race. Crazy. I mean, stuff that people were emailing and saying didn't matter.
Yeah.
I'm doing the work. I'm not going to let that hold me back.